Welcome to MMA Latest News. My name is Charles DeGisco, and this week I'm going to be talking about the heavyweight division after Cain Velasquez lost his title to Fabricio Verdum at UFC 188 in Mexico City. Their fight was very exciting. In the first two rounds, a lot of strikes were thrown. They were going at a frantic pace, and it was really impressive and some of the most exciting rounds we've seen in the heavyweight division. What's most impressive, however, is that Fabricio Verdum not only outstruck Cain Velasquez on the feet, he also outworked him. He pushed Cain to a pace that he was unable to keep up with, which ultimately led to him shooting for a sloppy shot in the third round, and he got caught in a guillotine choke. Prior to this fight, there was a lot of talk about who would be next for Cain. Verdum was a big underdog, and it showed in kind of that they weren't giving him that respect of the what-if matchups were he to win. The frontrunners seemed to be Stipe Miocic, and after his big win, Andrei Arlovski, and he was really the more marketable option after his knockout of Travis Browne. But now we have a whole new list of contenders. I personally still feel that Andrei Arlovski is the top contender. He is coming off with the most impressive victory out of anyone over Travis Browne, a knockout where he too was the underdog. He's a marketable guy. He's later in his career. He's not too old, but he's got a lot of MMA years under him. And I think now, you could strike while the iron's hot. He's got a lot of momentum, and I think it would make for a very exciting fight as he has some of the best striking in the division. The other option, which wasn't before, is Junior Dos Santos. He just beat Stipe Miocic, and it was a close fight, a 5-round fight, and a lot of people said it could have gone either way. Really, I feel that Junior Dos Santos put it away there at the end. He took that last round, and ultimately, he's very deserving of the shot as well. Now, prior to this fight this weekend, he wasn't really an option because he had already fought Cain so many times, and the last two were just very, very bad. The first one went 5 rounds, and it was a very one-sided beating. The second one went 4 rounds, and it was an even more one-sided beating. It actually made him never look the same. Even in his fight against Stipe, he looked a little sluggish, but you don't know what could have happened. He could have had a tough training camp, a change in his diet, so on and so forth. So you have to believe that he will bring it when it comes time to fight for that title. He was the last person to beat Verdum in the UFC, which is pretty interesting too. 7 years ago, he sent Verdum packing pretty much. He was cut, and at 30 years old, they didn't really know what would happen with Fabricio Verdum. A lot of people were feeling that his career was over, but now you've got to see he's had such a major career resurgence, and he's now the champ. So between these two guys, Andrei Arlovski was still an option. Junior Dos Santos is now what I believe number 2 on that list, on the short list to fight for the title. You also had Stipe Miocic, who, while lost to Junior Dos Santos, as I said earlier, he did have a very excellent fight against Mark Hunt, where he beat him with strikes in a fight that went clearly too long. The thing with Stipe, in that this is going to kind of hurt his chances, is that he's very similar to Cain, just not as crisp striking, not as good wrestling, and not quite as good, cardio. He's just a step behind Cain, and since Cain most likely won't get that rematch, the immediate rematch, it's unlikely Stipe won't either. Cain won't get that rematch because, the fight, while very exciting in the first 2 rounds, was very much favored towards Verdum. He was Verdum was outstriking Cain, he was outworking Cain, and he finished him in the 3rd round. So the fight didn't even get to the championship rounds, and if it went to the scorecards, you would see that Verdum was up 3 rounds to nothing. So at the end of the day, I think it's really going to be a 2-horse race between Andrei Arlovski and Junior Dos Santos, and I can't wait to see